So I'm joined by Sixtus Atabong, an author who, your book just came out 2 weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this is a book that I put together, and it's a story about my journey from a small West African country of Cameroon, and the challenges that my parents made to send me to the United States to study. It encompasses my own personal challenges, the temptations I faced in the United States, and major obstacles, which really led me to find myself, my personal identity, and my way of giving back.
Definitely. And so you mentioned, this is the American dream, like the epitome of the American dream.
It is.
Tell us about what you're doing now.
Well, I have quite a few things going on. I graduated from Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center with a physician assistant degree, and since then I've been working as a neurosurgery physician assistant, and I founded an organization based in Lubbock, Texas called Purpose Medical Mission. And it was my way of giving back, to go back to my village in Cameroon to build a clinic, and it started with just a small outpatient clinic, and it grew to a hospital. Now we have 2 hospitals in Cameroon, and we're in other countries in the world.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how does it make you feel to be able to give back and go back?
Well, there's nothing more fulfilling than serving others. For me, with my challenges and the success I've had, being able to give back wasn't a difficult decision. It was just something that I felt I had to do. I found my way of giving back through the people and the organizations that helped me along the way. And so, being able to say, I can do my own little contribution, my own small part to make the world a better place is just an awesome thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you, obviously, it's called, My Father's Wish. Your parents played a big role in this.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, tell me about some of their struggles to get you here.
So my dad and my mom they were both born in a small poverty-stricken, disease-stricken part of Cameroon, and they had no education. They've never been able to read or write, but they believed that education was the key to allow us, their children, to be able to face the challenges that they knew we were going to face in the future. And so, even without an education, they wanted to make sure we had the best education available in Cameroon. My father left his village at the age of 11 without any of the parents, and migrated to another part of the country just to be able to find hope, to get an opportunity, to be able to give back to his own community. And he lived by himself from the age of 11 to about the age of 27 when my mom joined him. So he faced some of the most incredible challenges, and most of it is in the book. But he always believed that through his challenges, that's how he found himself, and that's how he was able to give back.
This book, it just came out 2 weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am.
But tell me about the process of getting to this point.
Well, this book started as a journal. And like I said, I wanted to write a journal for my children because someone inspired me to do that. And from a journal, it became a book because another person saw me and heard about my story and said, hey, you have to use your story to inspire others. So the process of writing the journal obviously took years, but the actual sitting down and writing the book took about a couple of months.
A couple of months?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it?
Yes. Yes. Because most of the stories were already in my head. Most of the my opinions and the way I see the world is natural. So it didn't take long because most of what I write in the book is my experience, and it's just how I see the world, and it's natural. So it didn't take long at all.
So this is truly a look through your eyes.
This is my life out there. Kind of scary, huh?
It is kind of scary.
This is my life, but again, we have the part of it that I hope people can see. I want people to see the successes, but more importantly, I want people to zoom in on the challenges and the obstacles, because I am who I am today because of those challenges and those obstacles. And I hope that through that, people can they can be able to find their own to embrace their own challenges and embrace their own themselves and embrace their life, and hopefully use their life and their challenges to inspire others. It's not just the successes. What's more important is the challenges we face, because that's what defines us as a person.
Definitely. So what's the feedback that you've gotten so far?
It's been incredible. So the book came out 2 weeks ago, and it was the best-selling book with Cooler's Book, which is the publishing firm. And in locally and nationally, I am getting a lot of positive feedback. I think right now on Amazon it has a 5-star. So I'm pretty excited. I'm proud of the time and the work I put in. And obviously, my wife is a key part to getting this book done, because she said, you need to write this story. You need to go sit down and write this story, and I did. And I'm so thankful of how the book is inspiring people, and how it's getting people to find themselves, and how people are looking through my life. And there are people out there who are going through challenges today that at some point thought nobody else went through it. Well, they're looking at my life and they're saying, if this little kid from this village in Africa can do it, then I too can. And that's the story. It's, do not let your challenges and your obstacles put you down. Do not let others put you down. If you have a dream, dream on. You can do it. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your God-given talents and your purpose. You also have to understand your weaknesses and be able to say, if I can't do it, let God take control of it. But you will know at the end of the day that you have done your part. You will know at the end of the day that you've done your best.
Definitely. And yeah. I'm sure your sons are very proud as well. Have they read it, or have you read it to them?
I have a 6-year-old son who's actually reading. That's my oldest son, and he started reading it. And I get really excited when I see his facial expressions, when he reads certain things about the book, especially my experiences in Africa, that you cannot even imagine what it's like. And he will read those things and he will just be in awe. He'll get really excited or wants to ask questions. He has a lot of questions. He wants to know, what do you mean, Daddy? It means somebody married 3 wives? Yes, back then they could marry 3 wives. You can't do that now, but it was customary back then for them. So I'm excited about it. I'm thankful that my family has embraced it, and my children are loving it, and I think at someday when they're grown, they will understand, and they too will be proud of it.
Cool. Now, you mentioned going back to do medical work, right? Do you have any plans of taking your book and going international?
Actually, the book is already international. Yesterday I got 2 messages from one person from Canada and another person from Cameroon who both have the book.
Wow.
And they've read it, and they send me pictures of them reading the book. So I would love to take the book with me, to Africa or Nicaragua, wherever we go. We're now in 5 different countries. So my suspicion is before I get there, the people there would have read the book.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. What does it mean to you to look at all these accomplishments that you have and think back to, where you came from and what you went through? How do you summarize that?
How do I summarize my accomplishments? I give all the glory to God, because that's where I got my strength. My father, my mother made some major sacrifices to get me to this country, and I can't take the credit. There's been many people along the way in the United States, organizations that gave me that little push that I needed to be where I am today. And I just owe it to them to be able to give back. So this is not my accomplishment. This is the work of many people who believed in me before I even believed in myself. And they told me, we see something in you, and don't give up, keep pushing. And I did. And I think this is just the beginning.
So now I guess let's move to some topics you have a unique perspective on. You mentioned immigration.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, today in the United States, immigration has become a very hot topic, and it's become a divisive topic. Personally, I don't think it needs to be. I don't think immigration is a Democratic issue or it's a Republican issue. I think immigration in the United States is something that we all have to face. Some of us have been beneficiaries of the immigration policies of this country. And we have to work to protect our borders, but we also have to realize why people come to this country. There's two reasons people migrate. You're migrating away from something bad or towards something good. America offers freedom. It offers just the freedom of opportunity and so much for people who are running away from despair, from corruption, from intimidation. And as long as America offers that freedom, people always want to come to this country. Now, obviously, there is the issue of humanitarian problems that have to be solved. And obviously, we have to try to fix the problem, but we also need to try to figure out why are people coming over here. My personal perspective is we need to start fixing some of the problems even before the people get to the border. Fix the problems of corruption. We, the United States of America, can actually hold some of these countries accountable. Like my country, there is endemic corruption and people are running away from these countries, and we can hold them accountable. We can hold the leaders of these countries accountable, because the problem is not the people of these countries. It is the leaders who have become so corrupt that they really truly don't care about their citizens.
And how do you think that we should react as the United States to those countries?
Well, because the United States is the moral compass of the world, we believe in democracy. We believe that America preaches what it teaches. This is true democracy. You have a government where if people are not happy with the way things are running, they get new leaders. In most of these African countries or most of these developing countries, the leaders are there forever, even though the problems are still there. So we can hold some of these leaders accountable and some of these countries accountable, especially if we're helping them with aid or humanitarian services.
With immigration being a very divisive issue that you said it shouldn't be a divisive issue, how do you feel about class and racial discrimination? Is there a difference?
Well, there's a big difference between class discrimination and racial discrimination. I grew up in a place in Cameroon where I faced class discrimination. And what I mean by that is, I was a child of illiterate parents who were farmers and had no education. And every time I went out of my comfort zone, which was my village, to the big cities, I faced class discrimination. Even in school, I faced class discrimination. But the difference is in racial, the big difference is class discrimination is where you can have someone discriminate against you because of lack of resources, poverty, or lack of sophistication. But those people have to meet you to be able to do that. Racial discrimination is a little bit different. It's people discriminate against you just based on the color of your skin, and there's nothing you can do to change that. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I want us at some point, especially in this country, to start having an honest, open conversation about how discrimination as a whole impacts human dignity, or how it has a negative impact on people's on the possibilities on how we can grow. It's not enough to say, let's agree to disagree. The thing I have faced in the United States has been overwhelmingly love. And yes, you will have discrimination. But one of the first people I met in this country said, you can never let one person, the way they treat you, define the person you are. Because you may have the key to help the next person to find themselves. So, there's a big difference between, I never faced racial discrimination in Cameroon, in Africa, because there was never a different race. I grew up in the same race. But again, the book is not about my challenges of race. The book is about how we can use love to unite our country, to unite everybody, because at the end of the day, love always prevails, because it's natural. It's just the natural thing, and we have to spread love. And once we do that, I think we'll make our world, our United States, a better place.
You seem like a very optimistic person, and that seems to have driven you through a lot of these struggles and to overcome these struggles. What advice would you give just about being optimistic? Well,
we have to be. I think this world deserves better. I think with all the despair and the problems that we have around the world, even in our own country, we owe it to our children to make the world a better place. We owe it to our children to address some of these issues today. Otherwise, they'll have to face these issues tomorrow. So yes, I'm optimistic because we have to be optimistic. We cannot give up to despair. We have to address these issues today so that we can have a better country and a better world tomorrow.
Definitely. And you mentioned, inspiration. How did you find your inspiration? How do you do, the inspiration to be optimistic?
Well, I found my inspiration from God because there's no other way I can explain all the things that has happened in my life without God. I think my parents found God at an early age, and they passed that to us. And just the simple belief that we are a gift. I am a gift. You are a gift. We are a gift to our family. We are a gift to our friends. We are a gift to the world. And we are called to serve others. And because together we are the body of Christ. And when you serve others, you serve God. When you serve others, you serve the world. There's no other way to give back other than serving others. So the more we give of ourselves, the more fulfilling we are, and the closer we are to perfecting our world.
And is that the moral of your book?
Yes, ma'am.
One of them?
Yeah. The moral of my book is hopefully I can use my story, especially my challenges, not only the successes of my life, it's my challenges, the obstacles I face, to help others find their self, to find their own way of embracing their stories. It's not only the good things about our lives, the things that truly define who we are the challenges and the obstacles. That's how you know your strength and your weaknesses. If life is perfect all the time, you don't know what you can really handle. So, yes, I found myself and my way of giving back through my obstacles, and I'm hoping that I can use my story and my journey and my obstacles and challenges to inspire others to embrace theirs and know that the only way they can get stronger is to face those obstacles, because it too will come to an end.
Your parents played a very big role in your life, and you have 2 sons.
I do.
So what, what do you want to pass on to them as a parent?
Well, I am so blessed with 2 beautiful boys, and one of the inspiration for writing this book is to be able to tell my story, because someone had told me one time that nobody can tell your story better than you can. I wanted to pass on my story to them and my father's story to them. I think we as parents are the initial window to the world. That's how our kids, our children are able to see the world. So it's very important to start from a very young age, to start teaching them, just the basic values and principles, the things that they will need, the tools they will need in the future as they grow to become men, and how they too are going to be able to face obstacles. I'm optimistic about the future, and part of that is because I'm able to see hope in my children's future, and it's part of it is being in the United States. I grew up in a place where there was hopelessness. You go through school and you get an education, and there's no jobs, there's nothing to do. My children are growing in a place where they're surrounded by opportunities. I am hoping that I can not only raise them, my wife and I, not only raise them to be successful men, but to also find their way of giving back. It's not enough to be successful. You have to be able to give back and to be able to inspire others through your story and your challenges to tell their own story and to find their own self and find their way of giving back.
Definitely, and something we can all aspire to is setting goals. How do you go about doing that?
Well, I think one of the basic principles I've always used, and one of the things that my father taught me from a young age, is there are things we can control and there are things we can't. And as we go through life, we face challenges, and that's one of the ways we start finding out the things that we truly can manage and the things we can't. So it's very important to know our strengths and our weaknesses. And when you know that, you can truly say, let me take care of the things that I can control and let God take care of the ones I have no control over. That way you know you've given your best. You can't give up on obstacles. You can't give up on challenges. You truly have to face those obstacles and say, I gave in my best, and then letting God take care of the ones that we can handle.
That's amazing. Now, where can people find your book and get your book?
So the book is available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and it's My Father's Gift. And you should be able to get it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.